Let me share a dream that changed the directions of our lives. I was standing in the backyard, and then I saw that the land behind our home had been cleared, bulldozed flat. All the trees were gone, even the ones they said that would remain. I turned to my neighbor and said, "Oh yes, we definitely have to move now." And it wasn't just a dream, it was God guiding us. Welcome to Dream Watch, where God's love meets revelation. I'm Chandra. This is a space where we explore how God speaks through dreams, visions, and those quiet nudges that lead us into the next seasons of our life. Now, when I look back at that dream, I realize God wasn't just speaking through what I saw, but also through what I felt. That sense of urgency and disruption, that emotion was a clue. In your dreams, your emotions are often the Holy Spirit's highlighter. At the time, we were entering a new season. Our kids were grown, and I sensed it was a time to start simplifying and realigning our lives. I wasn't rushing, I just started paying attention. And I was listening for that quiet nudge from God as to what was next for our lives. Now, my husband loved our home and our community and had no desire to leave. So you can see how that might be a kind of a problem in a relationship. And usually through the years when stuff like that would happen, you would go to the Lord and say, "Lord, show me if I'm hearing you wrong, or if you're leading here, then get his attention." So then he had a dream too. He stood in the backyard watching trees being bulldozed. And a voice said, "It's time to move." And he said, "But I don't want to move." God was speaking to both of us through dreams. Those dreams wouldn't leave us. They stirred something in our spirits and gently moved us forward. We finally reached out to a realtor, got a market analysis on our home, and continued exploring different communities. Then one day, the perfect property came up. And even better, the developer dropped it several $1,000s. Oh, that got my husband's attention. And it was a confirmation that we both needed. God was making his way clear. Have you ever had a dream that nudged you toward a decision or wouldn't let you go? Go ahead and share it in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. What was so powerful is that before we moved, we heard that the land behind our home was going to be developed. But we were told the trees between the properties would remain. But in my dream, God showed me the truth, that all the trees would be gone. The entire field was bulldozed. Our neighbor told me that it was terrible. She said that her house literally shook as the massive trees came down. In dream language, trees often represent stability, legacy, or deep-rooted systems in our lives. When I saw them being bulldozed, it wasn't just about landscaping. It was symbolic of something being uprooted. When you're interpreting your dreams, look at the symbols and ask yourself, what might this represent in the season that I'm in? God spared us from what would have disturbed our peace. And I'm so grateful. That is just his goodness. He really does go before us if we're willing to listen. When we bought that home 15 years earlier, I was very concerned about the land behind us, that possibly a developer would come in and could even build something commercial on it. But I heard the Holy Spirit say, "Don't worry about it. I've chosen this home for you in this season," and he gave me a peace about that. Now, 15 years later, he was gently nudging me again, saying, "It's time to go." The barren field that I saw became a reality, and it confirmed just how intentional God's voice really is. When God plants you somewhere, it's always for a purpose, even when the season feels hard. That's often when the deepest roots are growing and spiritual fruit is quietly forming. But when he begins to stir in your spirit to move, whether it's physically, emotionally, or spiritually, there is a reason. If we resist his leading, we may find ourselves surrounded by the very disruption he is trying to protect us from. And that's what I saw in my dream and later in real life. What once was covered and peaceful was now bare and exposed. So if you're trying to understand a dream, here's a simple framework. What are the symbols? What emotions stood out? And what's happening in your life right now that it might connect to? Often God speaks to the moment that we're in or to the one that we're about to enter. Maybe you're in a season and wondering if that shift is coming or that stirring in your spirit means something. I've been there. So if you've had a dream that won't leave you, maybe it's not just a dream. Maybe it's God lovingly guiding you into your next step. If this message resonated with you, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who might need the reminder that God still speaks, especially in seasons of change. Until next time, stay open, Stay grounded and keep listening.